This episode is brought to you by Prime. Obsession is in session, and this summer, Prime Originals have everything you want. Steamy romances, irresistible love stories, and the book-to-screen favorites you've already read twice. Off Campus, Elle, Every Year After, The Love Hypothesis, Sterling Point, and more. Slow burns, second chances, chemistry you can feel through the screen. Your next obsession is waiting. Watch only on Prime.
Is mushy brown puree on the horizon for your twins? Or are you looking for something more interesting when you introduce solid foods? If you're thinking about giving your babies fresh, homemade food, stay tuned to learn the essentials. Joining us today is our panel of twin parents who are here to talk about homemade baby food for twins. This is Twin Talks.
The ultrasound shows your babies to be healthy.
What? Did you say babies? You're huge. Are you having twins?
Are they natural?
Which one do you like better?
Twins, huh? My neighbor's cousin's brother's uncle's a twin.
So can they read each other's minds?
How do you tell them apart? Twins? You got a 2 for 1.
Do twins run in your family?
Double trouble.
You're not having any more, are you?
At least you're not Octomom.
If you're pregnant with twins or you're an experienced twin parent, odds are you've heard it all before. Now it's time to hear from the experts. This is Twin Talks, Parenting Times 2. Welcome to Twin Talks, broadcasting from the Birth Education Center of San Diego. Twin Talks is your weekly online, on-the-go support group for expecting and new parents of twins. I'm your host, Christine Stewart Fitzgerald. Have you heard about the Twin Talks Club? Our members get bonus content after each new show, plus special giveaways and discounts. You can subscribe to our monthly Twin Talks newsletter and learn about the latest episodes available. And another way for you to stay connected is by downloading our free Twin Talks app, and it's available for most smartphones. Well, before we get started, let's go around our room and see who is here to share with us about their experience with baby food. So let's see here. Sunny.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of getting my feet wet in this whole thing. So, hey, everyone, I'm Sunny, and I'm a mommy to 4 children. Sarah is my oldest, Urban's my middle guy, and then my twins are Ainsley and Addison. And they were exclusively breastfed up until about maybe 7 months. They're now 8 months. And now we're starting to incorporate some stuff. But I would say they're still like 90% breastfed because I'm honestly, it's because I'm lazy. I have tried to do some puree stuff and it's messy. I thought it was messy with one baby, with my singletons. And now I don't know how you guys usually fed your babies when they were that age, but it's like if I start to feed one, the other one cries. And so I'm like, do I have to get 2 spoons out at once? And anyways, the whole thing is just more than I can handle right now. I'm just still breastfeeding as much as possible.
But you're ready to dive right in.
I am, and I'm certainly interested in learning about how to make baby food. We didn't even consider it with my singletons. It was just easier to go to the store, buy the stuff, and it wasn't really a big concern of mine. And then I'm sure we're going to talk about this later in the show, but now with 2, financially, there's just some things to consider, and you obviously want the best for your babies, and we're looking at the ingredients going, okay, there's more than one reason really to consider making our own. So I'm excited to learn from you guys today.
Awesome. And Shelly.
Hey, I'm Shelly. I'm the producer here at Twin Talks. I have identical twin boys who just turned 2, and I am 35 weeks with a singleton girl, so we'll be getting back into baby food soon. We started right at 6 months with the boys because I think first-time moms are always eager. And, I kind of like Sunny said, if I had known how much of a hassle it was, we might have waited longer. And for us, it was 100% finances. We could not afford jars or pouches. I mean, they're expensive. So we made everything at home for the boys. I think I might have bought, a couple here and there for traveling or out and about. But I mean, really, times 2, the cost was, and my boys were big eaters, so it was kind of, the decision was made for us, but it ended up working out really well, and they're fantastic eaters. There's really nothing they won't try, so I'm excited to get talking about it. Before we jump in, though, I wanted to let the listeners know that we have a virtual panelist program. So for those of you who can't make it into the studio but want to participate still, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter, and you can also use the hashtag TwinTalksVP to be part of the conversation from home.
Awesome. And I'm your host, Christine Stewart Fitzgerald, and I have, identical girls who will be 5 in the next month and a half. And so it's been a while since we've done the baby food, but we thought that was one of our things. And yeah, Shelley, we were also motivated by a lot of it by cost. So we did that. And then I do have a singleton who she's almost 2. And we also did baby food, but we took a little bit of a different approach called, baby-led weaning, which we'll talk about. So I think there's kind of some different ways to approach the whole, homemade baby food making. And, I'm sure we can look at the pros and cons of everything.
If you've ever blasted synth beats from your boombox or burned CDs for your besties, this one's for you. As people get older, much like their music tastes, their health needs change. AG1 is the simple daily health drink designed to deliver over 75 essential daily nutrients and pre- and probiotics to support energy, digestion, and mood. So you can make the most out of every decade and dance break. Learn more at drinkag1.com.
Okay, so we have a fun segment today. It's called We're Expecting What? And this is a segment that we'd like to do. It's all about when you guys first found out that you were pregnant with twins and the funny stories that happened shortly thereafter. And this comes from Amber. Amber writes, I found out I was pregnant when I was 7 weeks, and my 8-year-old daughter was talking to my belly, saying how there is 2 babies in there. Well, at 9 weeks, I got my first sono, and she was right there. And I showed her the pic, and she said, ha, I told you there was 2. And she kept telling me how they are a girl and a boy. She went there with me to find out the sex, and when the lady told us there was a boy and a girl, she yelled, ha, told you I was right again. Man, Mom, when are you going to learn I'm always right? Okay, well, thanks, Amber, for sharing this story with us. If you guys have a funny story about finding out you're pregnant with twins or even the gender of your twins, we would love to hear it. You can send us an email or call our voicemail at 619-866-4775.
Do you hear that? Sounds like breakfast is ready. Because Quaker's coming in hot with morning nutrition. 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber to fuel the rhythm of your morning and kickstart your day. And that sounds absolutely delicious. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Well, today's topic is homemade baby food for twins. And today we're chatting with our experts here in the studio, our panelists, about the logistics of making homemade baby food. So, hey, thanks for joining us. In our introduction, we touched a little bit on some of the reasons why each of us chose to do baby food. And I know we said cost is one of them. My gosh, I mean, I don't know. I know for myself, I bought a little bit of jarred food just for the convenience of it. And I mean, if I recall, I mean, it was like at least, I mean, if I could find on sale, it was like at least $1 a jar.
It depends on where you buy it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we try to get all of our food pretty cheaply. We try to, go to the best stores for the best deals and do all that kind of stuff. But, and it also depends on what age, too. Like the really basic puree stuff is always cheaper. But once you get into I don't even know the ages that they put on it, but the chunkier, they got different stages usually.
Yes.
And if something really has whole noodles in it or something like that, I mean, there's like things you can buy as an adult that would probably be just as filling. So, I mean, they charge you like, a lot more for those types of foods. So.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you get it, I mean, if it's organic or if it's, GMO free or gluten free or... I mean, there's a cost to it,
Yeah, so, I mean, there's the jars, which is kind of what most people think of initially. And they're fairly, 50 cents to $1, depending on where you get them and how many of them you buy at once. But, I mean, if your kids are anything like mine, then each one will eat the entire jar. And then that's, $2 for breakfast, $2 for lunch, $2 for dinner. I mean, it adds up, You don't want to be spending dollars and dollars and then... Once they get a little bit bigger, they're eating 2 jars or 3 jars. I mean, I've heard people, their kids, they eat, they're hungry. So, and that's a lot of money on food that you can't use for anything else.
Right.
It's not part of your budget already. And then some people had mentioned they had the problem where their kids wouldn't finish a jar and you can't put a jar back in the fridge because once you so then you have to spoon it into something else. And Yeah, it was overwhelming for us in terms of cost. And so we just, I had heard from other people making your own food was better, fresher, less expensive, and really not very time consuming. So that was kind of where, and nutrition also, controlling the food. I mean,
because you know what's in it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's probably one of the biggest things is just, I mean, I don't know. I try to avoid processed food as much as I can in general. But I mean, like sometimes you think, oh, it'll say like 100% natural. But I mean, what does that really mean? It's like then you start looking at these ingredients and they have these preservatives to maintain freshness. And, and then there's like,
how much citric acid
Citric
does
acid.
a child need?
Yeah, exactly. Or zinc oxide, for color. And it's like, really?
I'm starting now, as I mentioned, to feed my twins food. And I have one twin that will pretty much eat anything except meat stuff. That stuff, oh my gosh. I don't even know if I'd feed it to my dog. But I keep thinking they need it. But then I've heard this quote from a lactation consultant that food before one is just for fun. And I have that kind of in my head. And I'm like, okay, we're kind of just playing around with food right now. It's not really... They don't really need it nutritionally because I'm still breastfeeding them so much. But anyways, my one twin will eat anything. The other one, even the basic stuff that is like stage 1 puree stuff, she is having trouble with. And it's not just, at first it was like she just didn't know what to do with it. It's like, what's this in my mouth? But like even bananas, she's just kind of like, and bananas are sweet. Like you think that if anything, that would be something that she would eat. So I'm also having an issue with one is taking to it really quickly and the other one is just like not so much just give me the boob,
Yeah. So it might take time to sort of just, introduce a few things and see if maybe they take on, to one thing, one flavor or
one
not.
of the benefits of making your own food, I think, over buying it is different tastes and textures. So some babies don't like the pureed texture. You can try something like chunky, like some babies will respond better to a chunkier texture, like like an avocado just mashed up versus like something pureed, a piece of a banana instead of a banana mango pouch. So I think it was helpful for us to have the options. And my kids also didn't like to be fed at all. If I tried to put a spoon in their mouth, they just took the spoon out of my hand, which it was a really messy, it's still really messy. I'm not even going to lie. Mealtime has always been a disaster around our house, but it was easier with two. Like I would preload a spoon, here's some avocado, here's some sweet potato, mash it onto the spoon and then give them the spoon. And then my hands were free to eat. So, I mean, that turned out, it was really kind of convenient for us that we let them, here's your food on your tray, have at it, and I can eat my own food. I mean, I think...
And that's kind of like more the baby-led weaning approach where the kids get to sort of decide at what pace they want to eat.
And we could do, some foods, I mean, I wasn't comfortable giving them whole pieces of chicken. That seemed terrifying from a choking standpoint. So, you can puree something, but then like I would preload it on a spoon for them. I would just make sure it was thick enough to stick to the spoon. So we, like I said, we did a mix of things. But
So now you mentioned as far as like what kind of foods did you introduce? I know, I mean, we did, a lot of, like, let's just say vegetables, because I mean, everybody wants their kids to try different vegetables. So
we started slow with kind of one food at a time, like they recommend for allergy reasons, but we didn't really space it out very much. Just one food one day, add another food the next day, and really just for the first month. And after that, it was kind of like free for all, anything. Yeah. Once we kind of saw they didn't react to anything, it was whatever we were eating. And I actually have never eaten as healthy in my life as I did when my kids started eating, because I wanted to kind of set a good model. So we would, a lot of banana, avocado, sweet potato. And those are all things that you could just mash and put on a spoon. I didn't even have to, I would microwave a sweet potato, and one potato would feed the three of us for dinner. I'd have half, and I'd give each of them half mashed up and kind of let them have at it. For vegetables, I did puree some peas initially, but once they hit 8 or 9 months, I just gave them the peas
Right.
whole,
Yeah.
same thing, cubes of sweet potatoes.
And and those are great too. I mean, one of the things I know I did a lot of things was I would mix some fruits and vegetables, so they get a little bit of the sweet and savory together. So maybe doing like a peas and maybe with apples. I mean, apples seem to go with a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
bananas too. I find
bananas, yeah.
We actually used apple juice when we made the meat purees. I know it sounds weird, but you could.
Oh, it made it sweeter.
Yeah,
What I would do is I would cook chicken in a crock pot, like just plain chicken breasts with apple juice as the liquid in there. Make a whole crock pot full of chicken, shred it up. And then I had one of those baby food makers because I got it as a gift. But, I mean, you could use any blender or food processor to make baby food. It only takes a minute. So that was how we did meats. Just a little bit of juice and then chicken or beef or pork and blended it up.
How about grains? Because I know sometimes, and right now a lot of people are gluten-free. And what kind of grains do you use with your kids? I know we did a lot of oatmeal at the beginning, and then one thing I've used a lot is polenta. So you can cook that up, and when it hardens, it can form sort of like little pieces that they kids can pick up, but it's still ultimately squishy and they easy to digest.
That's a really good idea.
So we skipped the baby cereal. A lot of people, the old recommendation used to be 4 months, start with some rice cereal, and because of the iron added to it, but the added fortified iron is poorly absorbed to begin with, and so we didn't really see a reason to give them kind of fake iron supplement. We did oatmeal. Only when we were eating it too. That was another thing. We basically tried to make sure that the boys just had whatever we were eating. So if it wasn't something that I would be eating, then I wouldn't give it to them. And that again was kind of our thinking, like, let's have them have the same eating habits we do. But for grains, we did a lot of oatmeal and then bread actually. And there's this really cool recipe we found. You cut off the crust of bread and you spread like a piece of like whole grain bread. If you just spread a thin layer of applesauce on it and roll it up, you can put it
roll it up.
You roll it up, and you put it in the microwave for 30 to 60 seconds, and it dries it completely out. And so you end up with kind of like a teether almost.
Yeah.
So it's like it turns the bread hard, because and then the applesauce keeps it together, and then they could just chew on it. So those were great for keeping them busy while we were fixing dinner.
Oh,
so it's kind of like a healthy homemade baby teether.
Yeah.
And the boys loved those. I got it from another friend, another twin mom on one of my groups. And it was the kind of a lifesaver because it's got applesauce, so it's kind of sweet. It's got that harder texture, so they can chew on it, and it's
that's
whole grain,
perfect
so
for
it's
my
healthy.
girls now
Yeah.
because they put everything in their mouth. They're teething like crazy. No teeth yet, but I know it's coming. Yeah,
Wow.
that's awesome.
So, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the equipment that you might need in making baby food.
Sierra has all the best active and outdoor brands for the super athletic stuff, like running gear for cruising up the trail. Woo! And the super athlete-ish stuff, like fishing gear for chilling by the creek. Nice cast. Fitness apparel to push for higher reps. You got this. And golf balls priced so you can afford to lose one. Or a few. Head to Sierra or Sierra.com for the brands you want at the prices that let you do it all. From athletic to athlete-ish, Sierra's got it.
Well, welcome back. Today we're talking with our expert panelists about the different ways of introducing foods via either puree or chunks or kind of baby-led weaning, and the use of texture. So Shelly and Sunny, how did you introduce texture? Did you puree foods completely, or did you leave some chunks in there, or did you do the baby-led weaning approach where you're doing it in big pieces?
So we never pureed it all the way down to what your typical baby food would be. Like I said, we occasionally bought some of those, like single flavor pouches or jars, but everything was chunky. So if my kids were having avocado, I literally just like mashed an avocado with a fork and put it on a spoon. A sweet potato mashed with a fork and some butter and put it on a spoon.
I personally think that's a great way to go, because when you have that variety of texture, I think it really forces the babies to get used to that feeling of something solid, on their mouth, and it's like, okay, they have to use their palate to kind of mash it down, and it's soft enough and probably small enough that they can swallow it, but it's not just sort of oozing all over the place.
Yeah,
that's true.
And you know your kids, so I mean, my boys did really well with chunky textures, big pieces. They took to eating very well, but I mean, some kids respond better to those thinner purees, and that's okay too. So making your own baby food, I think, really gives you control over, like you mentioned, your girls having different preferences. I mean, you can make them different textures, and I think that's one of the huge benefits is, you know, my kid responds well to this, so I'm going to make it this way for him. You know, I mean, especially with twins, because I mean, my boys are identical. It doesn't mean they're the same, but they had pretty similar tastes and textures. But even in the foods they chose to eat more of, or how much of it they chose to eat at once, they were different. And then, you know, if you're looking at fraternal twins, they're 100% developmentally different. You know, they have different likes, different dislikes, different preferences. And so you don't have to feed them exactly the same. You know, you can kind of say, this is my texture kid, and this one's going to need, you know, things a little bit more pureed. This kid loves her fruits, and he's a little more into his vegetables. So you kind of have that flexibility, I think.
I think one of the nice things in defense of purees a little bit, though, is that if you're transitioning from breast milk, I think it's more of an easy, or could be an easier transition, just consistency-wise. I mean, especially if you have babies that really love breast milk and you can't get them off the breast. And like, I felt that it was a little bit more messy for sure, but a little bit more like breast milk, that transition.
I actually made my boys oatmeal with breast milk.
Yeah.
You know, so instead of we bought prepackaged oatmeal. I didn't roll my own oats or anything, but instead of making it with water or regular milk, I made the food with breast milk. And you can use breast milk to thin out a puree if it's too chunky or too thick. And you can also use formula if you're formula feeding too. So that's another option for transitions. You can kind of customize how much should I put into here.
No, that's smart. Now, how about for flavors too? I mean, what did you do to make it more interesting? Because I know, you know, we talk about, I mean, fruits, most kids adapt well to fruits, but then kind of going back to the whole vegetables, you know, how do you make that interesting? Did you guys use seasonings? I mean, I know with my twins, it was pretty, you know, bland and straightforward. I was going under the rules about, well, don't add salt and don't add butter and, you know, all these things like, oh no, we're going to have these obese kids. But then when I did, you know, with my singleton, you know, I felt like, you know what, I think there's really nothing wrong with butter, a little bit of salt and a little bit, I mean, I used spices. I used all the regular spices in my spice cabinet. And I mean, she really enjoyed it because I felt like, you know, if I want to introduce vegetables and really, you know, get her palate, you know, excited, then why shouldn't she have what adults having, as, you know, as long as it's not harmful. So
yeah, that was kind of our approach. So we started with more vegetables and less fruits, and then just kind of added in whatever. But yeah, butter. I mean, babies' brains are developing. They need fat, you know, so butter, coconut oil, olive oil, the things that, you know, whatever you normally use to kind of fatten up your food at home, babies can have too. And sea salt, especially like that really good, you know, we had some of that like Himalayan pink sea salt, just a little tiny bit of that goes a long way. And there's, you know, the minerals in it are good too for taste and texture. And really any seasonings, we try to avoid anything that would be too much of an irritant. So only a little bit of cinnamon, you know, I don't think we used pepper for a while, but just, you know, a little bit. But when you think about it, in other cultures around the world, they don't sell jarred plain baby food.
Right.
You know, babies eat what their parents eat.
Yeah.
And this whole idea that baby food has to be bland and simple and very mushy is kind of this manufactured idea, you know, along with processed food. And so I think kind of just looking outside your box, if your child was raised somewhere else, they would be eating heavily seasoned or heavily spiced food. It's not harmful. It's actually delicious.
Oh, exactly. In fact, you know, I have to say, I'm a big fan of Indian food. Now, when I was pregnant, I mean, actually with all the kids, I ate a lot of curries. So I kind of think I sort of prepped them. They got it when I was pregnant, you know, the amniotic fluid. They got it with the breast milk. So when they were doing baby food, I actually did some sort of curry. I mean, I used, you know, turmeric and, you know, some of the different, you know, like there's garam masala, you know, a little bit of those. And I'm not kidding you. Today, all my kids like curries.
My boy's favorite thing to eat is pho.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite place to take them because it's inexpensive, it's family friendly, you get a lot of food, it comes up fast.
Yes.
Your check is up fast. No, it's great. I mean, and they'll even, just now we're starting to give them their own broth because they're kind of learning with that. But we would just put noodles and meat in a bowl for them and then give them bites of our broth. And it didn't matter how spicy or heavily seasoned, they would just slurp it right down. So
I'm hungry now, you guys. You make me hungry.
Yeah. So, and then how about with meat? So it sounds like I think you'd given your boys like little pieces of chicken.
Yeah.
And,
so a lot of the reason that they recommend baby cereal is because of the iron in it, but it's an additive. There's not iron isn't naturally occurring in rice cereal, so it's fortified. And so the new recommendations are switching towards making meat kind of a first food.
Yeah.
And I think in Canada actually that is their first recommendation. Like meat should be your first food. Organ meats, actually, if you can believe it.
Interesting.
Because the fat is good for their brains. We didn't go that far, but it's,
we did salmon. Now,
Yeah.
salmon, I think, salmon has such a mild flavor to it. I mean, I think that is such a great food. I mean, and tuna, too, sometimes, even just, good canned tuna with just, a little bit of flavor. I don't do the whole mayonnaise thing. I'm not a big mayonnaise fan. But, I mean, I think sometimes with just a little bit of seasoning or lemon juice on it.
And, if you're not, because I didn't eat mayonnaise for years. Well, now I'm a little more open. But you can mix tuna with Greek yogurt instead.
Yeah, I love that.
Because it's got that protein and it's a simple food. And then you're not giving your kids mayonnaise.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I made tuna salad with Greek yogurt. And actually even like little bits of onions. My children love onions, which it's strange, right? You wouldn't think, but no, they think that they're great. Just another vegetable to chew on.
Awesome. So, okay, well, we talked about sort of like some of the things you can make for babies, but how do you actually do that? And I think Shelley, you mentioned you had a baby food maker, which in fact I had one too, but I think most folks probably do it just the old fashioned way. And I think it's usually, don't most people just steam the food? And so I think, you
steam it, mash
so we
it,
only
kind of
steam stuff that we would normally steam. So vegetables would get steamed, but we didn't steam fruit. I never made my own applesauce. That's not, that was more work than I was willing to invest.
Yeah.
But I know some people who did. But like fruit, we just, we would just give whole. But if we did want to blend it, occasionally like strawberries, you can just chop them up and put them in the blender. You don't need to steam a strawberry. There's no.
Right.
But it was really simple, especially in the beginning, because you're just doing a lot of simple foods. So like I said, I'd microwave a potato when they were first eating solids, 6 to 7 months. I would completely mash it with a fork and put it in a bowl with a spoon for them. Once they got a little bit better with their hands, I would cut it into smaller cubes and then eventually just big pieces.
Right. Yeah. I know, like with my singleton, I would I'd buy the baby carrots, or really, they're shaved down carrots anyway, and then steam them, and then I'd actually give it to her whole, so she could hold on to the carrots, so they'd be soft, so she could just bite in. They'd sort of mush. A little bit of resistance, but really soft enough, but she could hold on to it. So it was great because I felt like, okay, I just cook. I really didn't have to do any prep, really.
Yeah, and I know. So you can like puree, freeze, make large batches. We tried once or twice. I made like a big batch and froze it. But to be honest, if you're feeding 2 kids, you're going to go through that faster than it's even worth putting in the freezer. So I found that the act of like getting it out, defrosting it, heating it to the right temperature took just as much time as making it. So we really didn't do a lot of freezing or storage. And we didn't really do it in advance. So I remember a lot of moms saying like, oh, you can make huge batches, keep them, because you can freeze them in like ice cube trays.
Right. Like that's actually what we did. No, I did take the with my twins. I did do it in batches, and my reasoning was that I went to the store and I'd get like maybe a big bunch of fresh spinach, and so the shelf life of that wasn't terribly long. So I would steam the spinach, and then like we would let it kind of condenses down, and for freezing, we used these silicone baking sheets.
Yeah.
So there's if you go to like the big box stores, they have these sheets that are, they call them like brownie bites. And so it's these little, it's cubes, and it's silicone. So basically you can kind of twist it, and the things just, once they're frozen, they just pop out. And then I didn't buy any fancy storage container. I know there's some nice little systems where they're all color coded, and you can have your dates on there, but we just use Ziploc bags. But then one thing I liked about that was you could again kind of mix things. So we'd have I'd do a couple cubes of spinach, and then maybe a couple cubes of apples, and maybe a couple cubes of carrots or something. Then you could mix it up, and I guess I felt like we could have more variety that way.
Yeah, and we, like I said, we were just, if it was what I was eating, then it was what they were eating.
Mm-hmm.
And really the amount of time that I had to blend anything for them was so short in the big picture. I mean, I'm talking maybe 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
By 8 months, they had a pretty solid pincher grasp, so I could give them just cubes of things. And honestly, by 10 or 11 months, my boys were eating pretty much everything.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, anything that we could eat.
Yeah.
And they still do. They're toddlers, so there are days when they have preferences. And these days, their favorite thing to do is play dump truck with their food.
Oh, gosh.
Pick up, dump it out.
Oh, my God.
But
I hope you have a really good Swiffer.
I have 2 hungry dogs.
Oh,
there you
even
go.
better.
Yeah, but it was, in the long run, I mean, making baby food was, I almost found it kind of like therapeutic. It felt like something good that I had control over. It helped me feel like a little more in charge of things that were going on, but it's such a short period of time in the long run.
Yeah. I think we did we did the purees with the twins for probably, I'm guessing about 4 months. But then, as you said, I think when they got between 10 to 12 months, they're doing just a lot more solids and, just regular food in pieces. So, and then I had made things in batches. So I had sort of a supply in the freezer that, I could just kind of pull out, which was nice. So it was definitely a lot less work. Thanks so much to everybody for joining us today. And for more information about homemade baby food for your twins, or for more information about any of our speakers and panelists, you can visit our episode page on our website. Now, this conversation continues for members of our Twin Talks Club. And after the show, our panelists are going to talk about some of their baby food making oops. So for more information about the Twin Talks Club, you can visit our website on newmommymedia.com.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Well, here's a question from one of our listeners. This comes from Sandy of Kansas, and she writes, I'm pregnant with twins. I'm not very far along yet, so I'm still nervous and praying that they both make it through the first trimester safe and sound. But I'd love some advice in the meantime. Anything different that I need to do with my diet besides ingest more calories? Any special gear for pregnancy and beyond that I need to make sure I have? I'm really trying to learn everything I can, so any and all advice is greatly appreciated.
Hi, Sandy. This is Donna Rose Feinberg. I'm an IBCLC, mom of twins, and editor of breastfeedingtwins.org. As I'm sure you're already learning, there are some things about expecting twins that are a bit different from being pregnant with one baby at a time. Here are some things to think about and do during pregnancy. First and most importantly, listen to your body. Some moms find they need to make a lot of lifestyle and dietary changes while they're pregnant, and some don't need to change much of anything. Some moms are up and about at their normal activity levels, and some need to limit their activities early on. This depends on so many things: your previous activity level, your job conditions, and the unique circumstances of your own pregnancy. There's no single set of rules that is right for everyone. Please check with your own care provider to help you make decisions about your own unique pregnancy. Many nutritionists suggest increasing not only your overall calorie intake, but specifically your protein intake while pregnant with multiples. Protein helps your baby's development, and while many moms carry their twins to 37 weeks or more, some moms deliver early. It's important to ensure that your babies are growing well early on. This doesn't mean you should live on milkshakes and cheeseburgers, but you may want to incorporate additional protein sources in your overall diet. Lots of moms like making smoothies with protein powder because it's an easy way to get a lot of healthy ingredients and extra protein into one meal. I recommend a book called When You're Expecting Twins, Triplets, or Quads by Barbara Luke for a really good explanation of diet and nutrition during a multiples pregnancy. To keep yourself comfortable, I strongly suggest adding some extra pillows to your sleeping arrangement. You may want several pillows, maybe one behind your back and another between your legs, or you may be most comfortable with a long body pillow or other maternity pillow to support your growing belly. Many moms also find they're more comfortable using a belly support band later in pregnancy to help support their growing midsection. Sometimes you can have your care provider prescribe a special band or get one from a maternity specialty store. Finally, pregnancy is a great time to reach out to other moms. Join your local twins club or reach out to other moms of multiples online. Local groups often have expectant or new moms groups you can attend now to get advice from moms who have recently been through the adventure of twin pregnancy. Note that local clubs have different personalities, programs, and offerings. If one group is not a great match, you may be able to find another nearby or online that will meet your needs. Again, congratulations on your pregnancy. Take it easy, keep them cooking, and enjoy this new adventure. And come visit me online at breastfeedingtwins.org for more information and tips.
That wraps up our show for today. We appreciate you listening to Twin Talks. Don't forget to check out our sister show, Preggy Pals, for expecting parents, and our show, The Boob Group, for moms who breastfeed their babies, and Parent Savers, your parenting resource on the go. This is Twin Talks, Parenting Times 2.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
New Mommy Media is expanding our lineup of shows for new and expecting parents. If you have an idea for a new series, or if you're a business or organization interested in joining our network of shows through a co-branded podcast, visit newmommymedia.com.
Capture your favorite summer feeling with Pandora Jewelry. Discover a collection inspired by the sunshine, freedom, and moments that make the season unforgettable. From sun-kissed metals to personalized pieces, ready to be engraved with your summer mantra. Each design moves with you, from beach days to golden nights and every memory in between. Shop Pandora Jewelry's new summer collection, in-store or online at pandora.net, and let your summer unfold.
Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there. Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.